Good morning. Welcome to our service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Julie Caros, and I'm a member of the Worship Committee. If you are new or returning after a time away, we're glad to see you. Please feel free to fill out a blue welcome card, which you can put in the offering plate later in the service. There is a link to an online version in the chat. We'll put you on our email list so you can receive information about all that we do. And visitors can go to the Ask Me sign at the back of the Great Hall, I think it's over there, where a member of our Newcomer Connections team will be able to answer your questions. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by our values and principles. One of our principles calls on us to journey towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a multicultural, beloved community through actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Therefore, we are moved to remember that those of us in the Pioneer Valley live on the unceded homeland of the Pocumtuck, Nonotuck, and Western Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge our responsibility to confront the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history. We also affirm and celebrate the many legacies that inspire us. We have drawing materials and other activities at the Soul Play table at the entrance. Restrooms are downstairs and reached through one of these doors. You can either take the stairs or an elevator and return the same way. Our restrooms are all gender. We offer restrooms that are inclusive to trans and non-binary people, as well as caregivers who might be helping someone of a different gender. We have one room with a lock on the door if you need a single occupancy restroom. We have a couple of announcements, one from the Coordinating Council. They remind us that this Thursday is the deadline to submit nominations for Share the Plate. See the Sunday Times for the link, or if you have questions, and you also, if you want to submit nominations for Share the Plate, you can email council@uunorthampton.org. And now the search committee is going to give us a brief announcement.
Morning. I'm Corky Klimzak, and I'm a member of your Settled Minister Search Team. There are big questions being asked.
Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going?
Thank you, Elaine and Rebecca, for our a cappella and comic intro. Many of you will recognize that song. I chose it because it's a great summary of the information the search team is asked to provide to prospective ministers who are interested in our congregation. The more accurately we can answer those three questions, the better our chances are of finding a minister who's a great fit to be our next settled minister. That's our goal. And that's where you come in, because the search team can't do it alone. Here are 3 ways we hope each of you will add your voice to the search process. This is not a multiple choice where only one action is correct. It's one of those tricky ones. We hope many of you will be able to select all 3. Here they are. 1, take our survey as soon as possible, but no later than September 30th. Prospective ministers want to see wide participation in the congregational survey. The survey isn't only for members. We also want to hear from friends of the congregation and visitors. The link is in the edition of the Beacon that came out on Tuesday, and it can also be accessed via the QR code found on the half sheets in the back of the Great Hall. Thank you to the 104 members and friends who have already filled out the survey. It's anonymous, takes 15 to 25 minutes or less, and you can skip any questions you don't feel comfortable answering. Just as a sideline, 83% of those who have filled out are members, 13% friends, and 3% visitors. So we're hearing really well from you members, especially you long-term members, but we really need to hear from you friends and visitors. So please do the survey. Number 2, join us next Sunday, September 28th, after the service for our annual fall gathering at Arcadia Wildlife Sanctuary. The theme is Envisioning Our Future Together. Search team will be facilitating small group listening circles about our hopes and dreams for USNF's future. It will also be possible to join a listening circle on Zoom. Lunch will be served at Arcadia. If you'd like, bring a finger food dessert to share that doesn't require plates or utensils, not a snack, a dessert. But please come with or without a dessert to share. The rain date is the following Sunday, October 5th. 3, come to one or more of our October listening circles. Schedules on the flyer in the back with the QR code, and will also be widely publicized. Some are in person, some are on Zoom. They'll be different from the more general discussion we'll have at Arcadia, and we'll be asking specific questions about what you're hoping for in USNF's next ministry. So, survey, Arcadia, listening circles in October. We're really looking forward to hearing from you and to including your voice as we describe our congregation to prospective ministers. Search team members who are here, would you please stand up so that people can see who you are? I guess there's only 3 of us here this morning, but any of us are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Corky and Search Committee. This morning, we are very glad to welcome Joanna Lubkin to lead our worship service. Joanna is a rabbinical student whose journey included 10 years of ministry in UU congregations and college chaplaincy, a lifetime of Jewish education, a passion for song leading, and training as a community organizer. She is called to cultivate radically welcoming communities where people can feel like they wholeheartedly belong. Joanna is the worship arts lead at the Sanctuary Boston and is glad to have come west for the weekend from Boston. We extend a warm welcome to Joanna Lubkin. We are here to celebrate, to reflect, and to support one another. It is good to be together. And now let's enjoy the prelude.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be joining you out here this morning. Again, my name is Joanna, and I forgot to include a very important person in my introduction, which is service dog Sully, who will probably be asleep throughout most of this. He tends to snore through sermons, so he's covering up for any of you that accidentally fall asleep during the service. And I do apologize that I won't be able to linger for as long as I probably would like after the service. I have to get back for a memorial service in Boston. Please don't take it personally. I'm so glad to be with you all. So today I'm joining you just before the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah begins, and it begins at sundown on tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Monday. Tomorrow night. And the whole month leading up to these high holidays is a time in many Jewish communities of introspection, of kind of looking back on where we've been and starting to think about where we might want to be headed. And there's a custom in many of the communities I'm a part of to blow the shofar, this ram's horn. It can be a couple of other animals, but this one is from a ram, every morning as kind of a spiritual wake-up call, kind of like a, hey, there's a new year coming. Are you awake? Are you paying attention? And I always think of this beautiful teaching from Rabbi Isaiah Horowitz, which I'll share and then I'll sound the shofar. I can do an adequate job. There's some fantastic people out there. I'm aiming for adequate with y'all. It'll be great. So here's Rabbi Horowitz's teaching. There are things that are important to us, and we speak about them. There are things that are very important to us, and so words flow out from us, bursting with emotion and meaning and depth. And then there are things that shake us to the core. The core of our being doesn't wait for the mind's permission or for the right words. There are no words that can contain it. It breaks out in a cry, in a scream, and in silence. This is the sound of the shofar, he says, which Jewish communities blow at the upcoming Rosh Hashanah and at the close of the Yom Kippur services. It is a crying voice, not even of a human being, but from an animal's horn. We need the animal, not for its coarseness, but on the contrary, because sometimes we need to express something so sublime it cannot find words. So essential and unbounded that the mind cannot fathom it nor hold it back. Each group of sounds begins with a tikiyah, a whole note, and then proceeds to shavarim, a broken note in 3 parts, and then to a teruah, an entirely fragmented sound. But each broken note is followed by a whole note, another tikiyah. And this, the rabbi says, is the message of Rosh Hashanah, and this is what I'm holding for all of us today. It could say, I started off whole, I became broken, even splintered into fragments, but I shall become whole again. So may it be for us and our world. You're invited, if you'd like, to rise in body or spirit as I sound the shofar, and then we'll be moving on to the chalice lighting, which is also a risen one. And with that, we light our chalice with words that also call us to keep moving forward and to reflect. I invite you to join in reading these together if you'd like. They're printed in your order of service. These are by Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life we share. Sometimes light takes a little while, and that's okay. Our first hymn this morning is the African American spiritual, There Is More Love Somewhere. And as we sing these words that have been sources of hope and encouragement for generations upon generations, I invite you to think about what it is you are searching for more of, that you're going to keep on until you find it. Let's join together. It's 95.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's wonderful to see such a full house. My name is Jessica. I'm the Director of Faith Development and Community Engagement here. And our story this morning is about one of my favorite Jewish rituals that we do on Rosh Hashanah. It's called Tashlich. And the story is called New Year at the Pier by April Halpern Wayland, illustrated by Stefan Jorish. And it's a tradition that will happen this Thursday night. So you'll learn about it from this story, but I invite you to think about how you might take on some of the ideas of this tradition and this ritual. And come on up if you'd like. Thank you all. There's spots on the front pews. You're welcome to sit down on the floor if that makes you comfortable. It's up to you. And our main character in this story is Izzy. Izzy loves this changing time of year. Some days sunglasses, some days sweaters. Thumbs up if you agree with feeling like fall is a pretty nice time. Apples, honey, the sound of the shofar, and his favorite part of Rosh Hashanah, Tashlich. And there's some spots over there too. Thanks, Abby. Everyone makes I'm sorry lists on Tashlich. Mom is at the writing table, writing very fast. Miriam is on the grass thinking. Izzy doesn't make a list. He draws pictures, and he counts on his fingers 1, 2, 3. 3 things he's sorry for. So maybe you want to think back on this past year of things that you're sorry for. And another way to think about this tradition, too, is times that you've missed the mark. Are there things that you wish you might have done differently? And rather than just feeling ashamed and embarrassed about those times, are there ways that we could maybe make some repairs for that? Let's see what Izzy's up to. What is Izzy sorry for? 1, this one's really silly. He drew on his sister's forehead while she was sleeping. 2, he lost his mom's ring. Is that it? Only 2 things over a whole year? Suddenly he remembers one more. He wishes he could forget this one. Slowly, he puts up another finger. For promising he wouldn't tell anyone that his best friend Ben sucks his thumb. And then he told people. On Rosh Hashanah, as soon as they get to the synagogue, Izzy joins his friends playing tag. "You're it," a kid says, pointing a finger at Izzy. Izzy takes that as a sign and runs over to his sister. So rather than playing, he decides to do his first apology. "Miriam," he whispers, "I'm sorry I drew on your forehead." "Huh?" "I'm sorry I drew on you while you were sleeping." "Oh, that? No big deal," she says. "Okay," he says, and runs off to play. I hope that all apologies go that smoothly. When he stops to rest, Miriam looks at her list and then at Izzy. "I'm not going to call you Big Snot anymore. I'm sorry. But I like being called Big Snot," he says. Izzy looks at his mom. This one's going to be harder. "Mom," Izzy says. He looks down at his shoe. "I'm sorry I lost your ring." "I know you're sorry, sweetie. Thanks. But I'm sorry for something too." His eyes get big. Mom is sorry? "I'm sorry for always being on my phone," she says. "I'll try to put it away when we're together, okay?" Mom squeezes his hand and he squeezes back. Even adults apologize. It's a good lesson for me. Everyone walks together to the beach, including Rabbi Neil, Cantor Livia, and the families. When he gets to the pier, Rabbi Neil says, "Tashlich is the time we apologize for things we wish we hadn't done. Tashlich means to throw. We throw away things we don't like or don't need. Tashlich is like cleaning your heart's closet. A new year, a new heart." Wonder if there's anything you feel like you want to let go of or throw away. Just this summer, Izzy and Miriam cleaned their toy closet and gave a lot away. Now the closet seems bigger. They all sing Avinu Malkeinu together. Izzy feels connected to everyone with their song and connected to the waves and to the wind. Rabbi Neil and Ben's dad both blow the shofars, just the way Joanna just did. The kids try to follow what they're doing with their own breath, but they keep running out of breath. Finally, Rabbi Neil's shofar runs out of sound, and Ben's dad squawks out one last note. Everyone laughs and claps. And now it's time. Mom hands them pieces of old bread. And many people actually use rocks or leaves for this tradition. It's better for the animals. Izzy rips off a piece of bread and whispers, "I'm sorry for telling Ben's secret," and he throws it in the water. For each of his mistakes, Ben throws in a piece of bread. He breathes the salty air. He feels cleaner. He feels almost like the gulls soaring overhead. Izzy loves this changing time of year. Some days he wears sunglasses, some days sweaters, the sound of the shofar, and the salty smell of the sea. He does apologize to Ben. We're skipping over that part, but it all goes very well. He loves having time to think about his family and who he is and how he cares for his friends. And he likes thinking about this whole wide, windy world. Everyone sings one last song and returns home with empty bread bags. And clean, wide open hearts. So I wonder if there are people you would like to apologize to as well. I hope it goes as smoothly. Are there relationships that you would like to repair? Is there something you would like to cast off or some way that you would like to live differently? Thank you. And now we will sing the children out. So if you are going down to religious education, you are welcome to join me down the stairs. And for everyone else, thank you for blessing the children on our way.
And now it's time for us to greet one another. So please stand up if you're willing or able. And those of us in the Great Hall can turn and wave at our friends on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, you're invited to turn on your videos, wave and say hello in the chat. And now Julie Kinsman is here for our Social Justice Minute.
Good morning. Are you looking for an antidote to the flood of daily bad news? Would you like a way to engage in protest to the policies and practices of our government? I have a suggestion. Gather with fellow UUs and other members of our community at weekly standouts. I have found it exhilarating to join in solidarity with the resistance movement. It's not necessary to bring signs or flags. It's enough to just show up. We get a lot of support, and it's very joyous when passersby wave, honk at us, and we wave back in support, as they give us their support. Pardon me? Oh yeah, waving. We wave with a lot of waving. So here are some options. Every Monday from 11:30 to 12:30, there's a standout for veterans and federal workers at the Northampton Medical VA Center. Every Tuesday from 4 to 5:30, there are standouts on the I-91 overpasses on Mountain Drive in North Hatfield and Mountain Park Road in Holyoke. And on the fourth Friday of every month from 4 to 5:30, on the 18 overpasses from Longmeadow up to Newbury, Vermont, there are standouts. And the next one is this coming Friday, the 26th. There are details about all of these standouts in the Sunday Times, so you can refer to that. There's information about the locations there. And mark your calendars. Yeah. Well, do resist first. Yeah. So. Susie's our sign. See, you don't need to bring signs. Others bring signs with big letters like this so people can see them who are passing underneath. And mark your calendars now. Mark your calendars now. There will be big No Kings rallies happening on Saturday, October 18th. They will be in many locations. Plans are being developed and information will be forthcoming in the coming weeks. So watch out for that information. I am motivated by the words of Thomas Jefferson: when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Let's resist.
What did it say?
The first one said resist, and the second one said no kings.
Resist and no kings. We were trying to tell based on the 3 letters you could see from back here. Got resists, great. Ooh, hello. I invite us now to center in, to take maybe a fuller, more conscious breath. Wiggle your shoulders or whatever you need to do to let some tension out of your body, if that's possible, if that's something you want, as we enter into a time of meditation, first in words and then in silence. I share a poem from the late Irish mystic John O'Donoghue called "At the End of the Year." As this year draws to its end, we give thanks for the gifts it brought and how they became inlaid within, where neither time nor tide can touch them. The days when the veil lifted and the soul could see delight, when a quiver caressed the heart in the sheer exuberance of being here. Surprises that came awake in forgotten corners of old fields where expectation seems to have quenched. The slow, brooding times when all was awkward, and the wave in the mind pierced every sore with salt. The darkened days that stopped the confidence of the dawn. And days when beloved faces shone brighter with light from beyond themselves. And from the granite of some secret sorrow, a stream of buried tears loosened. We bless this year for all we learned, for all we loved and lost, and for the quiet way it brought us nearer to our invisible destination. Invite us into a time of quiet, giving thanks for what we have learned, what we have loved and lost, and for what we give thanks. So may it be, and may each of you be blessed as you are a blessing.
Our generosity makes everything we do possible, and it helps us support organizations and movements in the greater community. Half of the proceeds of each week's offering support the Society's operating budget, and half are shared outside our walls. You may mail in a check, donate online, or put your contribution in one of the plates that the ushers will pass. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Good morning. I'm actually going to be singing Leonard Cohen's Like a Bird on a Wire for this. Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir. I have tried in my way to be free, like a worm on a hook, like a knife from some old-fashioned book. I have saved all my ribbons for thee. And if I have been unkind, I hope that you know, you just let it all go by. And if I have been untrue, I hope that you know it was never to you. Like a baby stillborn, like a beast with his horn, I have torn everyone who reached out to me. But I swear by this song and by all that I have done wrong, I'll make it all up to thee. I saw a beggar leaning on his wooden crutch. He called out to me, you must not ask for so much. And a pretty woman leaning on her darkened door, she called out to me, why not ask for more? Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir. I have tried in my way to be free. this song and by all that I have done wrong. I will make it all up to thee, like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir. I have tried in my way to be free.
Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for that gorgeous, gorgeous musical meditation. Our reading today is from Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. If you look her up online, you'll see that she goes by the name the Velveteen Rabbi, which I think you just can't beat. She nailed it. This reading is called Anew. Here's the thing. The year begins anew even in the worst of times. The leaves will turn and fall, and then they'll grow again. And sometimes we're afraid and we can't know what choice to make to keep anyone safe. Uncertainty is a bear. All we can do is seek out sweetness everywhere we may and work to fix what brokenness we find. The good news is we're not in this alone. We'll help each other hope when the light seems dim and lift the sparks that darker days reveal. We'll love each other fiercely. In the end, there's no greater work that we can do. We who survive will help each other heal. Wonderful. And as our choir members are getting situated, I'll give you the heads up that toward the end of the sermon, I'll offer some questions for reflection. If you have a pen or pencil and will want to jot some notes on your order of service, feel free to pull it out and set it aside now, just so you don't have to rummage through your bag. You're also not obligated to write. You won't be missing anything. You can sit and reflect. But I just wanted to give you the chance to, be prepared. Seeing the sign up there talking about folks honking in joy felt really resonant to me today, because I wanted to start by talking about bumper stickers. Do you have a favorite? I am such a fan of a good bumper sticker, especially the honk if you ... format. Like, just something has taken off in that world. So for those who are fans of Mary Oliver's poem Wild Geese, I saw one recently that said, "Honk if you're letting the soft animal of your body love what it loves." Are you surprised that that was on a UU minister's car? And there's one that is often in the parking lot at Hebrew College that says, "Honk if you're not going to eat that pickle and I can have it." Both very important. There's this one mundane bumper sticker, though, that I always think about that gets me kind of reflecting. It's on the back of school buses and tractor trailers and commercial vehicles. And it just says, "How's my driving?" And then it gives a phone number, I guess presumably to call in negligent drivers. I don't know how often that really happens. But what I like about it is a couple of things. Partially, it's knowing that the driver near me is, at least in theory, being intentional and maybe held accountable for their behavior. And as somebody who drives on the free-for-all streets of Boston, that's not a small thing. But what I like even more is that when I see a car with a "How's my driving" sticker, I think to ask myself, how is my driving? And suddenly I'm a little bit more present, a little more alert, a little less likely to mess around with my phone while I'm driving. I get called back to myself, sometimes about the driving, and sometimes just, how's my driving in life? Where am I? I think many of us experience September and the fall as kind of one big callback to ourselves, or a fresh start, or an end and a beginning. For many, it's you're still in the early days of a new school year. Maybe you all regathered as a congregation recently after kind of a summer rest. I've started to see the trees start to change color, which for me is always like a stab in the heart of going, no, but also, oh. And the fall leaves are telling us that the trees too are starting to turn inward and preparing for the next cycle of seasons. And with the Jewish holidays, high holidays upon us, we're invited to contemplate the last year and figure out who and how we want to be in the next one. And here I want to say it doesn't matter to me whether you have any connection with Judaism. I think that's an invitation one can take and accept at any time you want, right? To pause and say, how have I been doing? Where do I want to be headed? So I want to invite you into that space, that this is for you, however you want to receive it. So with Rosh Hashanah beginning tomorrow night, going through the Yom Kippur, 10 days later, this whole period of time is known as the 10 days of awe, or the days of repentance. It's a whole time of introspection and making amends, very much like Izzy in the story that we heard earlier about Tashlich. So I want to invite you to join me on that introspective journey. You could, if you were thinking still in 7 principles terms, you could think about the UU principle that affirms justice, equity, and compassion in all relations. If you are grounded in the new UU values, you could think about transformation and love and equity. How's our driving? When I began rabbinical school at Hebrew College in Newton, I was introduced to a traditional practice called cheshbon hanefesh, which could be translated as a reckoning of the soul, or soul searching, or even spiritual accounting. Cheshbon is literally the modern Hebrew word for like the check you get at the end of your meal at a restaurant. So you're taking stock. And it can be a way of reflection where we get to have a deep conversation with our authentic selves. In many ways, this practice is very much like the fourth step in 12-step recovery groups, making a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Cleaning out the closets of our heart, not piling on the guilt. Open, wide heart. And of course, in the process of reconnecting with who we are at our most authentic level, we're inevitably going to confront all of the times where we did miss the mark. The times where we ended up making a choice out of fear or greed, the little slip-ups and shortcuts that we take in our everyday lives that we kind of wish we didn't, the people to whom we owe an apology, the people we might need to forgive. And I know this part can either trip me up and send me down a shame spiral of just feeling so bad about myself, or it can just scare me away entirely from the process of self-reflection. I don't know if anybody else feels that sometimes when you're kind of confronted with, oh, okay, that's too much. I want to invite us into whatever amount of this we can, and I keep coming back to the words of African-American novelist James Baldwin, who taught that not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. So about facing ourselves, Rabbi Itamar Schwartz wrote that one who wishes to watch over themselves must take two things into consideration. First, they must discern for themselves what constitutes the true good that a person should choose, and the true evil, for lack of a better word, that they should flee from. And second, they could consider their actions to discover whether they fall into the category of what they consider good or what they consider evil. In other words, asking ourselves, how has my driving been with my own standards and understanding of the world? Now, in the simplest and maybe most, traditional religious words, we are talking about sin and repentance. And I know these are words that some folks may have come to a UU congregation to get away from. I get it. I actually once had a UU congregational leader, we were working on a ritual that I had included the line, I apologize for the mistakes I've made and ask for your forgiveness, and they would forgive you. And they said, I don't know, forgiveness in a UU congregation makes me really uncomfortable. I don't think it's a thing we talk about in UU congregations. So I beg to differ, and I want to invite us into that, right? It's repair of relationship. So as our quotes or our leaders mention sin and repentance, I want us to just hang in there and allow for some alternate meanings for the term if those traditional ones don't work for you. So first of all, to take the charge out of the word sin that might be there, the Hebrew word chet is what's usually translated as sin, but that's not really what it means. Think more to aim for something and miss. It's an archery word, even in modern times. So what do you do when you aim for something and miss? Either you try again, or maybe you go and see what you broke and you try and fix it. It's repair, right? Cliff Reed is a British Unitarian minister, and he offers a version of a Unitarian concept of the word sin like this. He says, to sin is to willfully act, speak, or think in a way that one's own conscience condemns as wrong. Alternately, he says sin can be the failure to act, speak, think, or think in ways that one knows to be right. It's missing the mark that we set for ourselves. And because we all fall short in this way, Reed says that, quote, there is no room for smugness or self-satisfaction or self-righteousness. Pretty blunt, but I kind of like that, right? That we all do this. And Reed continues that although Unitarians may not like to use the word sinners, perhaps one might agree that we are imperfect, flawed beings when set beside our models of the ideal, although we try and do better and better each day. And each one of us is responsible for ourselves and for our consequences of the times we miss the mark when it impacts others, whether it's now or in the future. The remedy for sin, he says, is a process of contrition, of being sorry, of repentance, and of forgiveness. That is true regret, not just feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but actually regretting it and turning away from what one's own conscience condemns, and a loving acceptance, if we can, of the one who has done wrong. The giving and receiving of forgiveness, he concludes, including self-forgiveness, is necessary for healing to take place. Through forgiveness, the wholeness and connection that sin fractures can be restored. Similarly, in a more secular vein, holistic psychologist Joan Borisienko describes sin as anything that separates us from joy and enthusiasm, from loving our neighbor as ourselves, and from feeling our connection to everything else in the universe. She applies this to murder, to theft, to gossip, any type of violence, really, which she says can occur only when we think we are separate from the person or thing that we are harming. Interdependence, right? When we have this failure of compassion for others, it also applies, again, to those same non-actions. And I know in my own experience of this past year is that it really, many days, is overwhelming the amount of actions that are out there for me to take, the things that my conscience calls me to call out, cry out as broken, to go and put all of my heart into fixing, and that's everywhere. And that either gets so overwhelming or so frantic that I can't keep it up, or I freeze up. And I get sometimes just so stuck in guilt that I feel like I didn't do enough, that maybe sometimes I don't do anything. I hope I'm not alone in that feeling. Maybe others have felt something like that, right? Where it's just a little too much to be able to figure out how to move forward. This year, I am sitting with this poem from Marge Piercy and letting it guide me in my soul searching, in the sense of allowing myself to really see, well, yes, everything around probably has an element of brokenness that we could work to fix. Where will I take some action? She writes, this poem is called For the Birthday of the World, in honor of the high holidays. And Piercy writes, on the birthday of the world, I begin to contemplate what I have done and left undone. But this year, not so much rebuilding of my perennially damaged psyche, shoring up eroding friendships, digging out stumps of old resentments that refuse to rot on their own. No, this year I want to call myself to task for what I have done and not done for peace. How much have I dared in opposition? How much have I put on the line for freedom, for mine and others? As these freedoms are pared, sliced, and diced, where have I spoken out? Who have I tried to move? In this holy season, I stand self-convicted of sloth, in a time when lies choke the mind and rhetoric bends reason to slithering, choking pythons. Here I stand before the gates opening, the fire dazzling my eyes. And as I approach what judges me, I judge myself. Give me weapons of minute destruction. Let my words turn into sparks. I want to invite us now here today into a process of awareness, of recognizing those gaps in our understanding or of preparing to make amends, maybe making an I'm sorry list like Izzy. I'll give you some reflection prompts. Do not worry about trying to get through all of them. And know that in this community that I can already tell is filled with love. You're invited to go as deep as you feel comfortable going with these questions. Whether you're here or watching online, you're welcome to jot down some notes. I see there's some margins on your order of service if you want, or just think quietly on your own, or have a coffee hour conversation or car ride conversation on the way home. And be honest with yourself, but gentle too, okay? You hear me? We use the word judgments and sin. Please be gentle, yes? Because you are loved, and we want you to forgive yourself as much as you can. You are loved by people who are part of this community, who are far beyond it, and maybe by something greater than any of us can comprehend. So I'll read these questions, and then Ellen will give us a minute or so of just kind of beautiful, quiet music to just give us a chance to reflect. And don't worry about holding on to all 4 of these sets of questions. Just grab onto what grabs you. In what interactions this past year did I miss the mark? Am I willing to tell the truth about those times that I acted small or petty or out of fear, anger, confusion, or forgetfulness? Where did I miss the mark? What unfinished business is there from this past year, perhaps in money, in relationships, in work? Am I willing to clean it up so I can free my energy up to move ahead? What grudges or burdens am I carrying with me in my life, in my work or in my relationships that needs to be forgiven? What beliefs about others or myself or the world is it time for me to leave behind? And am I willing to forgive and let go in order to be free in this new year? What do I need to do now to repair, restore, and bring back to wholeness? Am I willing to do it? So during this time of quiet, where did you miss the mark? Where's there some unfinished business? Are there grudges or burdens you'd like to work on letting go or forgiving? And what do I need to do, or what do we need to do to repair and restore? Let's take a few moments of reflection. You can take as much time as you want with these questions over the coming days and weeks. If you'd like to, on your way out, snap a picture of the questions. There's a lot of words in there. I'll have this by me if you'd like. Dear ones, our work is not going to be done right now, or ever maybe all completely. I hope not. I hope we continue to grow and reflect. Because this isn't the work of just a few moments or one time of year, and perhaps today could be a beginning of something else. Just a journey toward ourselves, a returning to ourselves. And on this journey, we begin to set down some of those things that have burdened us, to free ourselves so that our heart can be bigger and cleaner and more open, wide open hearts. May we let go of what no longer serves us, hold tight to what we love, and know that however broken we may feel at times, we shall become whole again. So may it be. In that spirit, our closing hymn is number 1028 in the Teal hymnals, if you want the sheet music. The Fire of Commitment. I believe the lyrics will also be up on the screen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you'd like to join in singing together. You may be seated for our closing words as you like. And these are from Reverend Joseph Cherry, I believe no relation to Eric Cherry. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to move into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, and loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as people of faith, people of a gathered community, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. Wishing you all a sweet new year, and thank you for having me. Be well.